Hey guys, this is Kevin from JazTime.com, and today I'll be doing a comparison between the Rolex Air-King here on my left, reference number 116900, versus the Rolex Oyster Perpetual here on my right, reference number 114300. We'll be going over the price, dial, bezel, case, crown, bracelet, clasp, and we'll talk about the movement towards the end of the video. Okay. So, as of April 2017, you can get the Air-King at the authorized Rolex retailer for $6,200, or you can get it for as low as $5,700 at JazTime.com. For the Oyster Perpetual, you can get this at an authorized Rolex retailer for $5,700, or you can get it at JazTime for as low as $4,600. Okay. So hopefully, as we go through the differences between each watch, we'll see if we can justify the difference in pricing between these two watches. So to start, let's go ahead and jump right into the dials. For the dials, we have the Air-King. We have the Air-King on the left, has an Arabic numeral dial with Lume at the 12 o'clock position with the large large luminescent triangle at the 12 o'clock position, fashioned in 18 karat white gold. The hands, we have the Mercedes hands and the standard minute hand. And the second hand has a small circular lume on it as well. And those all glow in the dark for up to 8 hours. But specifically for the Air-King, the lume on the Air-King will be a bluish color. Whereas for the Rolex Oyster Perpetual, we have lume at the 3, 6, and 9 position with the index. The hands have that lume as well, but the second hand is purely 18 karat white gold, so there will be obviously no lume on that. But the lume on the Oyster Perpetual is actually super luminova, so that the lume on that one will be green, whereas the Air-King uses a highly legible chroma-light display, which is a blue color. And actually we'll go ahead and show you that really quickly here. Let me go ahead and shut these lights off. Okay. And all right. So that's the lume on the Oyster Perpetual. You can see that nice green. And that's the lume on the Air-King. Has that beautiful blue. Unfortunately, you don't want to get them too close together, but you can see the difference between the two glows. So of course, always up to preference. Okay. Now for the besides that, Oyster Perpetual has obviously index markers. The text has slight differences. We just have the Rolex Oyster Perpetual in the white with the superlative chronometer certification at the bottom, whereas the Air-King, we have the Rolex crown and obviously in a yellow with the Rolex name in a green colored font, and the Air-King written at the 6 o'clock position, and that's actually a throwback to the original Air-King in the 1950s, so they kept that same font. They wrote the Air-King back then as well. Just small little details. Okay, so moving on, for the cases, there's not too much of a difference in the case size when we refer to the diameter of the case. The Rolex Air-King, from my index finger to my thumb here, is 40 millimeters in diameter. Index finger to my thumb on the Oyster Perpetual is 39 millimeters. The main difference here is the profiles of the case. So I'll go ahead and show you these side by side. Is the side profiles of the case. Okay. There we are. And the reason why there's a difference on the size of the cases, the actual measurements, is that the Oyster Perpetual is approximately 11.35 millimeters in diameter, in thickness, whereas the Air-King is about 2 millimeters bigger, being at around 13.25 or so millimeters in thickness. Okay, and the reason for that is you can actually see the difference just from the southern portion of where the case back is, and that's because that the Air-King actually has two cases. There's the outer case and there's an inner case as well, whereas the Oyster Perpetual only has one casing. And that has to do with the movement of the Air-King. We'll talk more about that when we get to the movement. But for now, let's go ahead and compare the other side of the case. Okay. The other side of the case, main difference is that the crown, obviously on the Air-King, is a little bit larger than the Oyster Perpetual's crown, as I've said, because the case is larger on the Air-King. Now I won't go over the function. I won't go ahead and demonstrate you how to use the crown. We have many YouTube videos demonstrating how to use the crown, but specifically they both have the same functions. They're both screw down twin lock waterproofness systems that unscrew counterclockwise and can be used to set the date and wind the watch as well, or rather manually wind the watch. And both of these watches have a water resistance up to 100 meters or 330 feet. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the bracelets of the watch now. So for the bracelets of the watch, they're pretty much the same thing. The bracelets they both utilize a brushed 904L steel. And let me go ahead and adjust this. So they both utilize a brushed 904L steel, no high polish, only on the sides of the links. As you can see there, this is an Oyster bracelet. Even down to the clasp, they're pretty much the same as well. As you can see, they're both the same style clasp. You pop these out, and they even have the same Rolex name embossed on the clasp blade, as you can see there. But there is one difference on the bracelet, and that's actually located behind the clasp. So I'll go ahead and show you the Oyster Perpetuals first. So what I have in my hand right now is the Oyster Perpetual. Air-King. So the main difference between the class is that with Rolexes, they usually have for the class, they have a comfort extension link, which allows for giving you the breathing room for your wrist. Let's just say it's a hot day, your wrist swells up. You obviously want a little more breathing room for your wrist because the watch is obviously going to be too tight for your now swollen wrist, and vice versa. When it's colder, you want to tighten it up so it's not shaking and moving around everywhere. So with the Oyster Perpetual, you can adjust 5 millimeters, the bracelet, 5 millimeters inward or outward, or rather inward and outward. But the way they've done that is that, as you can see here at the very corners of the bracelet, you actually have to use a tool to press these pins inward, and there's a little indentation on the side, as I'll show you there. See that little indentation? You actually have to align those pins to those indentations just to adjust this watch for a little more comfort on your wrist. So I mean, obviously you're not going to be carrying a tool around to do that while you're out and about, so it's kind of a hassle. But the Air-King has that similar function, but they've done it a much smarter way. So you see with this bracelet here, we have the comfort extension link, which is located right underneath the case, and it's very simple. All you have to do, just press that inward, and it snaps right in. That's how it looks inward. Your wrist swells up a little bit, you want to pop it out, no problem. Just go ahead and pop that off, and you can adjust it outwards now. Okay, so now you can adjust that bracelet outwards for that 5 millimeters outwards. So much easier to adjust for a little more comfort. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll move on from the bracelet now. That's really the only difference for the bracelets, is just the ability to utilize that comfort extension link. One has a much easier time, which is the Air-King, and the Oyster Perpetual, you'll have to use the tool just to adjust that. All right, so now let's talk about the movement. Big thing about the movement here is that, as I mentioned before, for the Air-King, I'm actually just going to be holding the Air-King for now. So with the Air-King, as I mentioned, with the thickness of the case compared to the Oyster Perpetual, I mentioned that it has two cases, and the reason for that is because the Air-King actually utilizes the Milgauss's movement and casing style. So you have the the case back that we can see outside, the Oyster case outside, but once if you're a Rolex watchmaker and you pop this case back off, there's an additional case inside, and they refer to it as the magnetic shield case. Obviously, by the name, it protects from magnetic forces. So there's an additional case inside that protects from these magnetic forces, additional magnetic forces, to keep the time as precise as possible. And this is kind of important for the Air-King, because the Air-King was originally made for pilots traveling long distances, and of course they wanted to keep the precision of timekeeping as best as possible. So they use that the 31-31 movement, which has the precision of the 31-30 movement, but the 31-31 movement introduces the blue parachrome hairspring that adds additional resistance to magnetic fields. So besides that, we move on to the Oyster Perpetual now. And you're thinking, how's Oyster Perpetual supposed to top that movement? Well, for the difference between the Oyster Perpetual runs Rolex's in-house 31-32 movement, which is, in movement-wise, a little bit more superior over to the 31-31 movement. It has just a very basic Oyster case. It doesn't have that magnetic shield case back, so that's one major difference. But it also keeps a smaller profile, and is not too heavy on the wrist. With that said, what the 31-32 movement adds in addition to that over the 31-31 movement is it has that not the Paraflex, but the blue parachrome hairspring that was resistant to the magnetic fields, but introduces the Paraflex shock system, which is Rolex's shock absorption system that they claim absorbs adds an additional 50% more resistance to shocks. However, this is just a very basic dress watch. That's why it doesn't have all that, extra casing to it. So overall, it will be a lighter watch because it doesn't have that additional case. So let me actually go ahead and show you this watch on my wrist now. So let me pop this off. So here's the Air-King first. Okay, so that's the Air-King. Very nice. So the profile, there's a side profile on the wrist. Actually, it doesn't look too high. Will definitely still fit under suit cuffs and dress cuffs very nicely. This is more of a unique style watch. You won't see this kind of this dial on any other Rolex watches. Okay, and now we'll go ahead and put the Oyster Perpetual on my wrist. So here's the Oyster Perpetual now. Okay. Rolex doesn't have too many rhodium colored watches. Additionally, this watch also comes in other colors such as grape or blue, but the rhodium and blue is very beautiful. As you can see, like I said, it's more of a dress watch, not really a sporty watch. Okay, now let me show you these two watches side by side. Okay. So if you're interested in purchasing any of these models for the lowest possible price, check out our website at JazTime.com. We have the lowest prices guaranteed. We offer free shipping and a 1-year warranty. And if you liked the video, please like, comment, and subscribe below. We have lots more to show you guys. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys soon.